All right, top up that mug, because today isn't the highlight reel. Today we're telling the whole story of the Gordie Howe Bridge, from the very first sketch to the ribbon that almost didn't get cut. Sit tight, Earl. This one's a long pour.
Long pour, buddy, because this whole thing started over one bridge with a monopoly. The Ambassador Bridge opened back in 1929, and by the 2000s it was carrying nearly a quarter of all U.S.-Canada truck traffic. One aging, privately owned bridge holding two economies hostage. Something had to change.
People forget how old this crossing really is. Ferries during the Civil War, a rail tunnel in 1910, the Ambassador Bridge in 29, then the road tunnel right after in 1930. After that, nothing new for almost 100 years, while automotive trade between our two countries quietly grew into the tens of billions.
So in the early 2000s, Transport Canada, the feds, and Michigan's own DOT started studying a new crossing. They called it the Detroit River International Crossing, then the New International Trade Crossing. Real catchy names, Beau. No wonder somebody eventually just said, let's name it after a hockey player.
Hold that thought, because before any hockey player got involved, there was a fight. The owner of the Ambassador Bridge, a fellow named Matty Moroun, did not want a second publicly owned bridge cutting into his tolls, and he fought it in court for over a decade.
Lawsuit after lawsuit. Moroun claimed the crossing agreement was illegal, claimed his family had exclusive rights to build the next span themselves. The Supreme Court told him no in 2015. The last lawsuit got tossed in 2016. Matty passed away in 2020, but folks, his family was not done fighting. We'll get back to that.
While all that played out in court, Canada and Michigan struck a deal. Back in 2012, Prime Minister Stephen Harper and Governor Harper-Snyder agreed Canada would pay for the whole thing, and Canada would get paid back through tolls. The bridge itself would be owned equally by both countries.
That's when the Windsor-Detroit Bridge Authority, the WDBA, took the wheel. In 2018, they signed a $5.7 billion contract with a consortium called Bridging North America to design it, build it, finance it, and then run the thing for 30 straight years.
Now, the name. Back in 2010, the head of the Ontario Trucking Association floated the idea of naming it after Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey himself, a Saskatchewan kid who spent his whole career crossing that very border to play for Detroit. Howe's own son loved the idea.
May 14, 2015, it's official, the Gordie Howe International Bridge. Gordie was 87 and ailing, couldn't make the ceremony. When his son told him, Gordie just said, quote, "That sounds pretty good to me." He passed away the following year, 2 full years before a single shovel hit the ground.
What a shovel hit. 2 A-shaped towers, each 220 meters tall, deliberately designed to resemble a hockey stick mid-slap shot. 216 cables holding up an 853-meter main span, the longest of any cable-stayed bridge in North America.
Groundbreaking was July 17th, 2018. Then COVID hit, supply chains jammed, and the towers didn't top out until 2023. But on June 14th, 2024, in the middle of the night, a Canadian steelworker and an American steelworker shook hands right in the center of that span. The two halves of the bridge finally connected.
You'd think that's the happy ending. It was supposed to open by fall of 2025, then early 2026. Then, February 8th of this year, President Trump straight up threatened to block the opening, calling the deal one-sided because Canada collects all the toll revenue.
And guess who showed up right on cue? Matthew Moroun, the son, lobbying the administration, donating a cool $1 million to a Trump-aligned super PAC weeks before that announcement. The New York Times connected those dots, and Congress opened an investigation into a meeting with the Commerce Secretary. Some things never change, Beau.
In June, they were literally printing invitations to a ribbon cutting, then canceled it the day before. Prime Minister Mark Carney had to sit down with Trump directly. Finally, on July 10th, they announced a new deal. Canada and the U.S. will split the net toll profits 50-50 for the first 15 years.
And just like that, July 27th is back on. $8 Canadian or $5.75 American per car if you're not enrolled in the PASS program, a bit more for trucks. And hey, the walking and biking path is completely free. Coincidentally, cheaper than the Ambassador Bridge, too.
2 decades of planning, a decade of fighting, 6 years of building, and 1 very dramatic final year. That's the whole story of the Gordie Howe International Bridge. That's this cup of border coffee.
And somewhere, Matty Moroun is rolling over in his grave, still trying to collect a toll on it. Stay warm out there, folks. Same time, same border, next week.